You probably will not be surprised to find out that the American public at large is pretty susceptible to believing in conspiracy theories. We have a new Fairleigh Dickinson University poll that says that generally, the more people know about current events, the less likely they are to believe in conspiracy theories. But not among Republicans, where more knowledge leads to greater belief in political conspiracies.
Wow.
And we've got the numbers to back that up, actually. So let's bring up the partisan breakdown. So these are the numbers by party in the likelihood that you believed a conspiracy theory. They used 4 different conspiracy theories in this test. We're going to give those to you. 36% believe that President Obama is hiding information about his background and early life. 25% believe that the government knew about 9/11 before it happened. And 19% believe that the 2012 presidential election was stolen.
Oh my God.
I have a feeling that if they use other years in that, about 1 out of 5 would believe it every time. So
yes.
It's interesting that there is a difference in terms of party, although there's some
Not
of that
interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start now. So you're not surprised at all?
I'm not surprised at all by this.
I am.
Tell me more.
Because I think that there's a difficulty when we talk about liberals versus conservatives, or when we talk about Democrats versus Republicans. I mean, obviously, we work in a two-party system. I don't consider myself to be a Democrat. I consider myself to be an independent. I'm probably more liberal than the Democratic Party. I think a lot of Republicans see themselves as being more conservative than the actual Republican Party. They might identify with the Tea Party. And we read different things. And we watch different television. And I know that this is going to offend a lot of right-wingers out there, but liberals tend to watch mainstream television because we don't see it as being liberal, we see it as being fact-based. Whereas a lot of conservatives tend to watch kind of pocketed, cult, like,
radio.
edited,
cable,
specific for their constituency. And so this is where these conspiracy theories are first developed. This is where they flourish. And when you stay inside of a bubble like that, it's easy for that to just kind of recapitulate.
And you get stunned that Mitt Romney didn't win in a landslide because you're living in that bubble.
Yes, because that's all you're listening to all the time.
Or like my brother Phil, who makes $50,000 a year and worries about the estate tax.
Yes, exactly.
Because he's a fucking moron.
And then you're looking at people like Nate Silver, for example, and you're saying, well, oh, you have a liberal bias. And it's like, no, he's just looking at math. Data, facts,
math,
science.
well-known liberal bias.
Exactly.
I'm to the other end of that spectrum where liberals see mainstream media as being fact-based. I see it as being slant towards corporatism.
The Democratic Party,
I'm saying that I see the media, the mainstream media, as being corporate. That's why we have the Young Turks, I think, as an answer to that kind of stuff. All right.
No, I agree.
As far as conspiracies, I believe in conspiracy. So, okay, so Gulf of Tonkin, right? Am I a conspiracy theorist if I think that the government used that as a false flag operation to get us into Vietnam? Or is that a fact? Building 7. Now, who are you going to believe? The government that lied us into a war, or your lying eyes? Building 7 was demolished by somebody. It didn't fall down because of a fire. But if I say that, that makes me a conspiracy theorist, which I think the term conspiracy theorist has an undue amount of negativity attached to it.
I think that there's a big difference between a conspiracy, which has been debunked by scientific evidence, and something that is still like the Algerian conflict, where things are still in the air and we're not really sure what's happening and all of the data hasn't come in. And so I think it's about kind of consensus. Somebody who is a conspiracy theorist would argue that all the data isn't there and that it's incomplete and that there's too many problems with the way that the media is trying to spin it. But when enough people from the outside who have done enough independent reports can say kind of, okay, the burden of proof is on the other side now, it's pretty obvious that the evidence lies with, this being the fact-based analysis, you're a conspiracy theorist. But for me to say, am I a conspiracy theorist because I said that I feel like the NRA is lining the pockets of many, many, many Republican lawmakers?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I just think that's true.
That's just observation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some people might say that I'm a conspiracy theorist because they're not willing to look at the data.
But let me ask you this question now. Do you believe that in the single bullet theory, which is...
Oh, God.
So if you believe that Oswald acted alone, then you believe the government line. But if you question that, you're a conspiracy theorist, and that's the problem. They throw conspiracy theorists, which are legitimate conspiracy theorists, with crazy ones like, so you are a truth, or you're a birther. If you, no, I'm not a birther. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I do not believe the government line of the single bullet theory.
I do agree with you that the problem is that the term conspiracy theorist, it means too much.
Yes.
Like a person who thinks that there's too much money in politics could be called that. A person who believes that every government official is secretly an alien could believe that.
Do you think we went to Iraq for oil?
I think that the natural resources of countries that we invade plays into our willingness to invade them.
That's a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But also
that's not a shade of gray answer. I mean, you gave a shade of gray answer, whereas the person asking the question is asking a black and white question. I think that's sometimes an issue too. It's like, is it only because of this reason? Well, no, it's more complicated than that.
And also there are people who are conspiracy theorists in that they believe that like almost all of these conspiracies are related to each other.